I'm a business coach and a life coach, and I used to lead with a life coach, but before that I used to be a social media strategist and marketing strategist. And what I found was a lot of times people's subconscious beliefs were the thing that were running the show of their life. And even if you've got the most incredible marketing, it doesn't really matter if you've got limiting beliefs. So I want to spend a few minutes with you today focused on 5 of the most common beliefs that I see stopping you from either asking for the money that you deserve, speaking up for what it is that you need, having the partnerships and alliances that you can have. So that is what we're going to go over today. So I'll go very quickly. These are my drivers. Family is very important to me. I'm a single mom to these 2 little energetic people. Such as a constant personal development exercise in itself. I love my clients. I do retreats. I do private coaching. I have this client over here who I'm from 15 minutes of coaching with her, who got her restarted in her art business, and now she's doing commissioned artwork from just getting a nudge. So my clients inspire me because I love when you get to live into your life purpose and what you're here to do, what gifts you've been given by God. These are all photographs I've taken, so kind of an amateurish photographer and love to travel, and that's just a little bit about me. So what I do is, again, I help you lay the foundations of success at the most fundamental level. And then I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. So my area of expertise is really in psychology and subconscious behaviors. And I use, as I mentioned, a lot of personal experiential bits as being an entrepreneur for that long. You get plenty of education. So imagine this is your road to success. And you think to yourself, why is it that I can just never quite get ahead the way that I want to? So these are the 5 things that I see most often. So one of the things, if you are familiar with the way the brain works, only about 5 to 8%, depending on whose percentages you look at, of what happens in your life is actually controlled by you consciously. The rest is run on autopilot. It is in your DNA. It's programmed into your cells. Your reactions, your responses, your triggers, all of those things are coming from subconscious behaviors. So 95% of everything that happens in your life, you actually didn't get to choose it. You have something else running it. So it's a good idea to make sure that you're aware when these things come up, what it is that's running the show. So, number 1, lack of self-worth. No one will pay that much for what I offer. Money usually represents more than dollars and cents. It is tied up in our deepest emotional needs for love, for power, security, independence, and self-worth. So many times, if you're looking at what you charge compared to the next person, you get into the comparison trap. And if that person charges more than you and you charge less, and you're wondering, why do they deserve more than you? Well, they probably just have a higher value on their self-worth, which can come from early childhood stuff. So when you price your stuff, or you price what you do, or you compete against someone who does the very exact same thing, make sure that your money conversation is that I am worthy and worthy of receiving. Because if not, and you think you're not deserving, guess what? That is exactly what will show up in your bank account. The other one is doubt of creative ability. I hear this one all the time. I don't have a creative bone in my body. That is literally what people say to me. Your fear is the most boring thing about you. That's from Elizabeth Gilbert. There's a book called Big Magic. I highly recommend it. For any of you that say, I'm not creative. So if you're staring at social media, or you're looking at those perfectly curated Instagram accounts that look annoying as all get out. Because none of us, our lives are not perfectly curated. Your creative self is the one that makes you different. If you're standing in a room of real estate agents, insurance agents, and you got 5 other people in the room, and you go, oh, but there's another send out cards person. Yeah, but there is not another Laurie Delk. There is not another Gina Walzak. They both do send out cards as examples, right? And the thing is that when we can recognize and embrace our own creativity, we then have the power at that point in time to now leverage ourselves into what is my creative genius, because no one else is born with your creative genius. And then you can stand next to those 5 other people and figure out how to creatively create masterminds and collaborative efforts with the very people who used to be your competition. When you're creative, competition goes away. Unused creativity is not benign. It metastasizes. It turns into grief, rage, judgment, sorrow, and shame. Brene Brown, who is friends with Elizabeth Gilbert, I love both of them. I encourage you that if you've been boxing that up, and most children by the age of 7 have lost most of their creativity because someone criticized their stick person or the way they drew or whatever. So you may have been so uncreative for so long, it's just because it was robbed from you at a young age. In case you have a critical person in your life. Fear of rejection. But what if they don't like me? So the thing is that you don't need to worry about anyone who doesn't like you. Psychologically, have you ever noticed a very bold salesperson, a very bold leader, a very bold speaker? Do you think they spend any energy concerned about the approval of others? Now, there's another group of people, of course we don't like to associate with them, they're called narcissists. They don't care what anyone thinks of them either, right? However, do not judge the narcissistic behavior that you might have bumped up against somewhere in life, or you might see it on media, nowhere. That someone is worried about whether or not you're going to say yes or no to them. Because it's what does the expression goes? It's this or something better. And if it's no, then it's next. So they'll keep those in mind if you're concerned about asking for the sale, about knocking on the door to go have that speaking opportunity. Because if it's that person, then you're just like, well, you missed out on me. And that is the bottom line, self-love. Self-love drives that ability to be worried, to be free of the worry of rejection. So once you forgive yourself, I love this quote, it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, I think this is by his son. So once you forgive yourself, the self-rejection in your mind is over. So forgiveness, self-love. I forgive myself, I forgive everyone else who has rejected me, and set it free. And spend no more time on it. The originality trap. So one of the things that I do, and sometimes if you've ever heard me speak, you've heard me speak on hands. I am what's called a scientific hand analyst, and we're different from palm readers. But in the hands and the fingertips, there's actually a numerical sequence in your fingertips. Notice that 2 people on the planet have the same set of fingerprints. And there's actually neurology that's attached to that in the brain that is that much uniqueness. That's why there's no 2 sets of fingerprints. There are no 2 human beings, even twins, that have the same set of fingerprints. So when you say to yourself, like I had mentioned earlier about competition, well, there's another person doing what I do. Even if they're in the same agency, under the same brand, they are not you. They were not imbued at 14 weeks in utero. That uniqueness comes into your fingerprints. It disappears 3 days after you die. The reason that I got into that science is because I believe that your soul's uniqueness is the most powerful marketing tool that you have. It's the most powerful relationship tool that you have. Because only the right people in the right places and the right circumstances need to be present. And all you have to do is just let go of every other thing that doesn't line up and feel good. And when you only focus on I am original and I am unique, and stop focusing on, as I mentioned earlier, the comparison to the other person in the room, you shine. Your confidence goes up. You are no longer criticizing what isn't perfect. So back to self-love. This is the last one. This is the big one. This is the one that keeps a lot of people either silent, or sometimes the one, unfortunately, in our social media world that we live in, can drive people to commit suicide. It is the one that keeps us silent. It can keep us broke. It can keep us fat. It can keep us raging. It is shame and vulnerability. This is a huge blind spot. To be ashamed of what has happened to you will keep you silent from speaking truth that could change another person's life. I am an expert at this. At 9 years old, I began to be sexually abused until I was 19 years old. There are people that I have run across in life that said, you should be ashamed to share that. That's private. Don't talk about that. And then meanwhile, I get inbox messages from people that say, thank you for your strength. Thank you for not being ashamed of it. Because in that moment, when you speak about things that are shameful, oh, I was divorced. Oh, I was bankrupt. Oh, those show other human beings that you keep walking, and you hold your head up, and you have strength, and you have power. Stop using things that are your shames and begin to use them as the very things that set you apart, that people say, you know what, I can trust this person because they're not putting on masks about who they are and about their authenticity and about their vulnerabilities and about their shortcomings and their failures. You will be far more trustworthy when you become far more human. And people will remember you. They will choose you over someone else. They may even invest more money in what you're offering if they go, you know what, this person's charging less, but I trust this person more. So don't let things that have otherwise maybe been kept in corners, and all you do is you spend time on social media trying to make sure that none of those ever sneak out. And instead, when you make a mistake, own it. Speak up. Say, hey, here's a vulnerable moment. I made this mistake. Here's what I learned from it. Maybe you can learn something from it. I have literally had people write me time and time again. They've never commented. They've never liked a post. And they messaged me in a back channel message. You changed my life. You gave me strength that I didn't have because you said something that no one else wanted to talk about. And because of that, I was able to look at myself and realize I was more okay than I thought. So shame and vulnerability will keep you from moving forward in your success. Otherwise, flip it around. Use it as one of your unique strengths. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do. Most of all, shame is the lie that someone else told you about yourself. And for many of us, we didn't come from perfect childhoods. Somebody who was trying to love us the best way and the only capacity in which they were ever given may have projected that onto us. And there is forgiveness. Because again, forgiveness is that ability not only to forgive yourself, but to begin to dismiss and free up. So look back on the last year and look back on any people, any situations, business agreements, things that failed in itself, and stand in the space of forgiveness. And if it's something where you know the person's going through something, and maybe they didn't pay you, and it was not something that is detrimental to you, maybe put yourself in their shoes for a minute and say, why did this happen, and can I forgive it? And you begin to walk in forgiveness, self-love, authenticity, truth, and worthiness in every step of your life becomes more powerful. And you have to do a lot less strategic planning, and many more miracles and blessings will show up in your life, because you will then be equipped and you will be anointed with power that you cannot get. You can't buy it, you can't book it, but you can sure the heck live it when you embody these qualities. And so my intention for you as you step into 2019, remember our little highlights here: to love yourself and to forgive. And even those people out on medical center right about now, love them and forgive, especially in traffic the next few days. It's a great exercise. So I think that was the wrap there. Oh, this is from a meme I made myself. I made myself. There is no greater power you hold than to realize that you were designed perfectly to be yourself. Break up with your attachment to the opinion of others about who you truly are.